Dominator at King's Dominion still holds the distinction as the world's longest B&M floorless coaster. This is a hulking ride that commands your attention, but is it one of the better floorless coasters out there? Or is it sort of overrated? Find out in this review of Dominator. This ride opened back in 2000, not at King's Dominion. Rather, it began its life as Batman Night Flight at Six Flags Ohio. This would be just one of 5 Bolliger Mabillard floorless coasters at the time, and it would be a splashy addition for one of the newest Six Flags parks. But just 4 years later, Cedar Fair purchased this property. The park was renamed Geauga Lake, and DC Comics branding was lost. This led to Batman being renamed Dominator. Flash forward to the 2007 season. There were rumors that Dominator would be relocated to King's Dominion. It seemed like an odd choice to relocate this park's signature ride, but there was a much more concerning plan in motion. Cedar Fair announced Geauga Lake would cease to exist as an amusement park at the end of the season. This led to several rides being relocated across the chain. King's Dominion received 3 different rides, but none more notable than Dominator. This Virginian theme park kept the same name for the coaster, and was placed to the left of the main entrance on International Street. And it makes one heck of an impression as you pull into the parking lot. The massive inversions are front and center. The giant vertical loop stands out in particular, not only because of its size, but because it's the only part of the ride that retained its original yellow paint scheme. All the other track has been painted orange. There isn't any theming with this ride. It is designed such that the big elements do the talking, and that's fine. I usually recommend arriving at parks early to maximize your day anyway, but that's especially the case with King's Dominion. This park regularly opens Dominator a half hour before the posted opening time. You can usually get a few walk-ons while waiting for rope drop. If you are not in the park for early entry, it is prudent to return to this coaster later in the day for 2 reasons. 1. Many people make this coaster their first stop, so it frequently has its longest line at the start of the day. 2. Dominator has very high capacity, so it makes sense to knock out the lower capacity lines before they back up. In the time it could take to get through Dominator's line shortly after the actual park opening, you can instead get several laps on twisted timbers with little to no wait. By mid-afternoon, I guarantee you the RMC will have a longer line. The busiest I've seen this coaster is during Winterfest, when it's one of only 2 major coasters that are traditionally operating. And on that note, if you visit that event, the temperature must be above 40 degrees for Dominator to run. This coaster has 3 trains. The ride will almost always operate with 2 or 3 in the course at once. As with the other floorless coasters, each row holds 4 riders, and each train has 8 rows, so each train can hold up to 32 riders. And the crew can dispatch these trains fairly quickly. The familiar over-the-shoulder harness and redundant seatbelt combination is easy to check. As for which seat you want, I like the back best. You get a little extra whip, plus a surprise airtime moment in the second half. The front is fun too for the unobstructed view, but I typically ride in the back between the shorter weight and superior forces. Once dispatched, you navigate a dip and turn the corner before ascending the 157-foot or 48-meter tall lift hill. While it's not the tallest floorless coaster, it is certainly up there and taller than most. The only 2 that are taller are coincidentally both named after Superman, and because of its placement, you get a bird's eye view of the parking lot going up. After a little pre-dip, you have a sizable drop that twists to the right, and if you're in back, you get some really nice whip as you're pulled downwards. It is one of the better curved drops on a B&M looper. The only drops I prefer in this type of model are the straight ones found on rides like Hydra the Revenge at Dorney Park, or Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. The drop leads into the ride's ginormous vertical loop. You do slow down at the apex due to the scale, which results in a pinch of hang time further back in the train. Then the valleys hit you with some positive G's to contrast. While this start is pretty common for a B&M looper, Dominator goes off and does its own thing next. You have a low turn around the Cobra Roll. I absolutely love the speed on this element. Then you have a big overbank above the station building. While I admire B&M for doing something different, these 2 turns are lacking in the force department. Next comes the Cobra Roll. You have some okay force into the element, The snap out of it is good in the back, and it actually causes a pop of airtime. You then twist upwards into the mid-course brake run. You'll hear the brakes tap the train, but you barely slow down at all. What comes next is why you want to be in the back. You have this sizable straight drop back down to ground level, and you get some really nice floater airtime in the back row. Few floorless coasters offer airtime, let alone airtime of that caliber. You then have interlocking corkscrews. They are awkwardly high above the ground due to the ride's former home, but appearance aside, they ride quite well. Both offer some decent whip. Then you cruise around a small overbank and a low turn. The first overbank is pretty forgettable, but the second turn has a good amount of force. It is a very tight maneuver. You then navigate a gentle S-bend and hop into the final brake run, but not before giving everyone some weightlessness. This ends the 4,210 foot, or 1,280 meter long coaster. While the first half is not your usual cookie cutter B&M looper, and the layout keeps its speed well, there is one element that is sorely missed, the zero-G roll. That is my favorite inversion on most B&M loopers, especially the floorless coasters, so it's disappointing Dominator doesn't feature one at any point in the layout. Now let's talk about this ride's smoothness. The train audibly rattles as it navigates the course. I find some of these B&M loopers tend to be rougher if they aren't running full trains, particularly the floorless coasters, but I admittedly have not ridden Dominator with anything less than a full load over the years. So in the conditions I've experienced this ride, it has tracked smoothly, and I have not gotten any headbanging. That's a good thing because the harnesses are right next to your ears, so any imperfections would be felt. So what would I rate Dominator? I would give this floorless coaster a 7 out of 10. This is a solid B&M looper. The layout is original. There are a few surprise weightlessness moments scattered about, and the inversions the ride features are good. B&M has made snappier and more forceful loopers, which is why there are a handful of floorless coasters I prefer. But Dominator is a perfect fit at King's Dominion as the park's most re-rideable multi-looper. It makes complete sense why Cedar Fair sent this coaster to this park roughly 15 years ago. It really filled a niche. It gave the park the popular high-capacity looping coaster it desperately needed. So those are my thoughts on Dominator at King's Dominion. What are your thoughts on the longest floorless coaster out there? Do you think it's one of the best of the genre? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.